Hello, this is a very special message from your co-host, Alan Aston, and I'm here to tell you that this week is a very special, messy episode. That's right, instead of the usual level of lack of professionalism and unpolish, this time you'll be getting a full shitstorm. Thank you for joining us anyway. We had a lot of technical difficulties, and I was gonna try and cut around them, but then I realized it's fucking funny. I'm gonna leave it in. So you'll see the struggles we endured. Enjoy. And if not, know we tried our fucking hardest, and everything was working against us. Kay, love you.
Wait a second.
Oh my god.
It says that my default mic has changed to
Did
my
you hear?
speakers. Can you hear me?
I mean, I can hear you. Allegedly. You can't hear me?
Why is that happening?
I don't know.
Speak to me.
Till now. You can't hear me? I always got by on my own. I never really cared until I met you. Nothing? Now it chills me to the bone. How do I get you alone?
Why?
How do I get you alone? What if I was just doing that the whole time, but I was not actually singing and I was just pretending to fuck you up?
Hello? No.
Oh, it's echoey.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
I'm gonna restart this computer.
Day 2.
Hi, and welcome back to Allegedly Alan and Ash. I'm Alan.
And I'm Ash.
And we know we told you guys that we were going to talk extensively this week about the Wendy Williams documentary, Where is Wendy Williams, that aired on Lifetime. But unfortunately, I didn't hold up my end of the bargain because I started reading too much about it, and I felt that it was exploitation of Wendy Williams, and that as a person with dementia, I don't think she could have possibly fully consented to that experience. And therefore, I felt morally gray about watching it, but ALYN did, so we can still touch on it a little bit, but we're just not going to make it a main focus.
Yeah. I did watch the 4-part series, and I do have to say that there were a lot of times that I had to pause it because it was kind of upsetting to watch. I don't think the producers were trying to put or paint Wendy in a bad light, but I do feel like the people surrounding her, kind of like her manager and her publicist, were ignoring that there was an issue because
Money.
yeah.
Probably, right? I mean, it's always money.
And before there was a block on her bank by Wells Fargo. Now, I thought there was a guardianship from the bank, but the bank froze her funds and filed for the New York City court to place her in a guardianship for her finances. Before that happened, she was in Florida with her family, and there's video proof of her doing well and speaking coherently and things like that. And then she was ordered to show back up to New York City, you know, and for the guardianship and everything. And I just think that her health and her mind are failing her because the people that are around her now, that's not her family, are aiding for her to work again when that should not have been on the top priority. There was even one point where there was no communication between her manager and her publicist, and her publicist flew her out to Los Angeles to go to a meeting at NBC or something to talk about possibly doing a show or something. Her manager had no idea, and her publicist said, Wendy told me she didn't have any food and you weren't feeding her, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just a lack of communication. She's not supposed to leave the state of New York. And it was just a bunch of the complete delusions that these people, you know, and her alcoholism and everything. And like I said, I had to watch it and I had to keep pausing it. It was,
Yeah.
It makes me nervous. It makes me sad. And did you know that her sister went to classes to be a guardian for Wendy, but they
Uh,
chose someone else for Wendy?
yeah, I mean, and listen, I can't pretend to know what's the right choice for any individual person that's not myself or my family. So I can't say, I don't know Wendy's sister personally. I can't say, like, oh, she was the right choice. Y'all messed up. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. But I do feel like in a lot of these cases, the people that are supposed to be protected end up exploited and end up where people are making the wrong choices for them. And, unfortunately, in the case of Wendy, it's like she should have a choice, but when you have dementia at play, it's very hard. It's very hard to know when you're getting that person's clear choice versus when you're getting dementia. Like when you said to me the thing about Wendy saying like they weren't feeding her and they weren't
Hmm.
we don't actually know if that's true because and
Hmm.
this is another one of the reasons I really struggled to watch this because as you know my grandmother
It was,
recently died of dementia
mhm.
this last year, so I that was already a struggle for me anyways. But they do, when you're in the throes of dementia, they do make like a lot of claims of things like that that are not
Hmm.
necessarily true because it's just like your brain is playing tricks on you. And some of the things they're saying are going to be true and some of them aren't. And it's so, unless you saw it with your own eyes, you don't know. That's the hard part.
It's just scary because all the hands are in Wendy's honeypot. That's what I call it because at one point she moved out of her New York apartment and her manager didn't even know what was going on. It was empty as can be. And it's scary to me when they can't even have their own crap together and they're trying to be there for Wendy. Like if she's not capable of working right now, why do you need a manager? Why do you need a manager? Why do you need this, and this? Why do you need a publicist?
Well, you still need a publicist, like whether you're working or not. If you're a public figure and people are asking questions about you and checking in on you, you still need somebody who's going to be that point of contact for the media so that Wendy Williams isn't tasked with trying to do that herself, especially in her condition. So, publicist, I understand. I mean, whether she's currently working, she's still generating money and has a lot of
Hmm.
public interest. So, but if, as far as like a business, or I guess a business manager still makes sense too, because she's got assets to manage. But like a talent manager and things like that, somebody who would be in charge of booking you on shows and stuff, no, she doesn't need that.
Yeah.
Not right now.
This doc followed her from 2021 up all the way until 2023 too. That's
Yeah.
because
Oh,
they had to stop it at one point as
can you
well.
can you
They,
clarify something for me since you watched?
Mhm.
So, was it that they started filming and they didn't know how ill she was and they found out while she was filming? Because I feel like that's what I heard, but I'm not really clear on that. Like, did they know she had dementia while they were filming at first?
I don't think so.
Okay.
They found out when they started talking to the one of the nephews, one of Wendy's nephews. They were talking about alcohol-induced dementia, and they were like, "Oh, really?" But that doesn't come through till like later on in part three or part two or part three. But the thing is, they began talking about Wendy Williams coming back on a podcast. The first
Yeah.
episode was her starting about a podcast, and she didn't even remember what street she lived on and things like that. And one of the neighbors that lived there was like, "No, you live here because it's called Wendy Williams Way." Like it was that bad in the beginning, and
So
everybody was
they
just like saying, "Oh, that's just Wendy."
so whether they knew she had a dementia diagnosis or not, they understood she was clearly having some kind of memory troubles and
Yeah,
struggles
they
with her
were.
cognitive abilities. So I guess that's why I still feel like at the end of the day, it just feels really exploitative to film someone. I know she signed over the rights. I know they listed her as an executive producer, but like morally, it's the same as like how a child can't consent to certain activities. I feel like a person who has got dementia can't give their full heart and consent to something like this either.
Sometimes, though, I do think it's a good thing so people in public are aware because there are other people and celebrities that we worry and care about their well-being that aren't shared in a public light at all. So we're left to wonder. So at least with this, even though it didn't put her in a great light, it shows the effects of things that can happen to you. And we actually got to see her and talk to her, and we know her family cares about her, which is More than I can say for other people in this business. I'm just saying it was nice to see her after we were wondering where is Wendy, and she was talking and she was working on herself, and her family's pushing to, be close to her and things. I will tell you at the end of the documentary, after Wendy was, she was not, I don't want to say placed into like another rehabilitation facility, but someone put her there, either management or something, I forget. But she started calling her sister and stuff and asking her questions. Is this right? Is this what's supposed to be happening? So the family was like, at the very end, they were like, well, she's reaching out to us. Wendy's contacting us. So she's getting her mind right. She's getting her things and she's figuring things out, because they even tried to talk to her. Her niece tried to talk to her. And Wendy's just like, I know, And these people are taking advantage of you. And I think I froze.
You did. I didn't know if it was just on my end, so I didn't say anything.
That's a god awful fucking photo. Maybe you can put something in between that so it doesn't show my god awful face, because that's horrible.
Day 3.
I'm sorry about the technical difficulties earlier, guys. We don't want to dwell on Wendy. We just want to we wish her happiness and healthiness, and that she's safe, and that she, gets to reconnect with her family. And I don't really want to go over it anymore, but in my opinion, I don't think the producers exploited her. I just think that people around her might be the ones that are actually exploiting her, minus her family. After watching her interviews with her sister, her dad, her niece, her brother, and her son, all of them seem like they have the best interest. I do want to bring up one thing before we go on. Her son, Kevin Hunter Jr., was accused a couple years ago of just spending insane amounts of money out of her account. And they asked him about it, and he said point blank, he's like, I never asked my mom. He's like, I would never take anything without my mom's consent. I would always ask her first. And my mom encouraged me to. My mom loves to spend money. I mean, he was living in a fancy place. The birthday party he had for himself cost, I don't know, up to almost $1 million or something like that. Yeah. It was expensive.
For one singular party?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. But he said, I would never take anything without her consent. I would always ask her first. It wasn't anything against her. She knew exactly what I was using and what I was spending.
Gosh,
I don't know. Like Wendy likes to spend a bunch of money.
It's so hard. Like I said, when you have a dementia diagnosis at place, it's just so hard to know what is fact and what is fiction. And it's not on any bad part on Wendy. It's not something she would be doing on purpose by not, saying the things as they are. It just is what it is. Oh, great. Now my dogs are barking. Let's just, fucking kill me.
Throughout that whole documentary, Wendy was like, I want the rest of my money to go to my son. I love my son. I want it to go to my son, like adamantly throughout the thing.
Wish I were dead. Never happens. I can't breathe. Ow.
Who let the dogs out?
They're still going. I don't know
Who let the dogs out?
I don't even know what they're barking
at.
at.
Nothing if you don't have a bone. Oh, doggy, oh, no bone.
Hang on. Let me cut. They're not shutting up, so let me check this. I want to. Shut the fuck up! Get in your places! Go lay down.
A few moments later. "12 seconds later."
Do you want Do you want to talk about life?
I just want to kill myself.
No, don't say.
A few minutes later.
Hope y'all enjoyed
Oh,
season 1. We'll see you in a couple of months for season 2.
2,000 years later.
Don't do that sound.
It's what?
It sounds like a scary sound, like from The Ring or something. What movie is
Oh,
it where they
Predator.
made
It
that
kind of sounds like
noise?
Predator.
I can't. Stop.
1 eternity later.
Do you want to talk just a smidge about Love is Blind? Because we finally got to see the finale and
Yep.
all the barbecue party. We can just kind of skim over the little things that happened.
Well, yeah, because we haven't spoken since everybody met each other at the barbecues. So there's a lot to cover that we didn't cover last time, such as Jemmy finally meeting Jess in person, along with Chelsea being there. And then, of course, Sarah Ann and Jeremy and Laura were all in the same place as once too. It was kind of a clusterfuck. So, yeah, let's talk about that barbecue. What?
I want to cut to the.
What?
He already had her shit packed, Jeremy. When they were at the barbecue and they hadn't talked for a couple days, and he had already made up his mind because she came over to talk to him at the barbecue, and she's like, well, I'll come by later and pack up my stuff, and he's like, it's already packed. He literally packed her stuff up, which means he was not going to get back together with her.
But he did send her flowers.
Well, she was a bitch about it.
Whatever.
She said, I don't need you to send me flowers. Well, no, the way she said it, don't you think she kind of talks down to him like a mother and it has an issue with the Hawaiian shirts and it got to him? Because if you're going to talk down to a man, you're going to want to go somewhere else. I'm sorry.
I do think she's condescending, just in general. And a lot like me, I do also think she has resting bitch voice too. But at the same time, like everything he did, in my opinion, kind of warrants it at this point. Like he was so bad to her. So I get it, but I do agree that she's condescending.
I don't think it was like that when they first were, but I think every little nitpick thing got to him. Do I think it's okay that he went to go to a bar and then he met up with Sarah Ann and he didn't know that even though his phone was left in his car and he had his smartwatch on, that he went there and did whatever with her? Do I think that was right? No, but if you're getting nitpicked by Laura, you're gonna. That's a turn off.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? The barbecue after that happened, where he's like, I already got your stuff packed. And she's like, okay. Sarah Ann and him start talking. And she's like, want to go jet skiing? And they're jet skiing.
Him jet skiing, like having the best time of his fucking life while Laura, I know, like while Laura watches on as they're just fucking gallivanting around this lake. And she's like, yeah, great. Oh my God. You know, that was funny in a bad way, like in a schadenfreude kind of way, like I felt for her. But you know what my favorite scene was? My favorite scene, yes, of the whole show, of the entire season, was AD just kind of going in on Sarah Ann. And she was just sitting there on the porch like this. And she's just like, so, I mean, let's walk me through this, Sarah Ann. You knew that Jeremy was a taken man, did you not? And Sarah Ann's like, yes, but she's like, no, but then you also decided to go ahead into his DMs anyway, knowing he was a taken man, did you not? And she's like, yes, but she's like, no. And it was just so funny. She was like, I feel like I'm being interrogated. And AD the whole time is just like, yeah. It was a hilarious scene.
That's one way that women can stick up for their friends, though, because the way she handled that, the way that AD was, she's like, I'm not trying to make you look stupid or anything. I'm genuinely asking you, like, do you think this was? That whole thing. And Sarah doesn't care. Sarah only cared about Sarah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she made that pretty clear, and she basically was just like, yeah, but you're not seeing my side. Like, I was in the pods, I was in love, and I didn't get closure and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, we know you didn't, but at the same time, that doesn't give you, it's still not morally correct to slide into the DMs of a man who's intending to marry someone else and be
Mhm.
like, hey, come talk to me. Like, you're still a hussy for that. Sorry.
Do you think that she, even though we know it's a show, do you think that she reached out on her own accordance, or do you think maybe production said, "Hey, why don't you hit up Jeremy?"
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I think Sarah Ann did it on her own, mostly because I think that once you're out of the pods, like production isn't really talking to you that much until it's up to these events, right? I wouldn't imagine they
Yeah.
were really, because they were really focusing on the couples who got engaged and they were following them around. So
Mhm.
she didn't have a camera following her anymore, which means she didn't have a producer just there all the time. But maybe it's hard to say, right? Do you think?
Yeah. Sometimes I do just for drama, but maybe she did it on her own accordance. I guess there's nothing wrong with her talking to him if they're not married yet. As that's in her eyes though. Not that, don't take that for,
Right,
because she
right.
was like, he's not married yet. So
Yeah,
I still
the whole thing was weird. The whole thing was weird. And it felt to me like Jeremy never really liked Laura as much as he liked Sarah Ann. So I don't personally understand why he chose Laura. Like, why didn't he just choose Sarah Ann anyway? What was the reasoning? He never gave one.
that's what I don't understand unless they're getting coaxed behind the scenes, because we already talked about Jimmy and Chelsea, right?
Mhm.
Chelsea and Trevor, Mullet Trevor, had such a better connection in the pods. And I know we talked about it, but I think that Chelsea and Trevor would have been a perfect match together. Like,
If he
he
didn't have a
saw her,
girlfriend at home.
that's true. What's with all that shit?
These people are clout chasers. That's why this season fucking sucked because nobody came in real except maybe Amy and Jimmy.
Johnny,
Fuck.
Bartholomew.
Bartholomew. Yes. I can't with them. They're so forgettable, but they are very cute. Sorry.
They are. I see it, and their families are crying, and they're at the wedding together, and they both said "I do," by the way, at the
Yes.
altar.
And it was adorable, and I wish them the best. They seem happy. They seem cute.
Hmm.
I have high hopes for them, though. If I have to hear them argue about birth control one more time, I will kill myself. Just wear a fucking condom. I don't want to hear about this again.
I don't understand what the big issue is with that shit.
I don't either. I literally never heard them say the word condom once, so I'm having trouble moving past it. I'm like, that's the most obvious solution. And I've never heard you say it. You're talking about fucking vasectomies. And it was just bullshit. But did you not laugh your ass off at that scene where AD was like, that girl's
Bachelor
fucking,
parties?
that girl's totally fucking.
Yeah. Yeah.
She doesn't,
have to bring
she
it up
doesn't believe
too.
it.
Maybe she's trying to save Grace on the show, but maybe they have. She's like, you're gonna marry without testing out the equipment or testing out was it a try before you buy?
Yeah.
Like, what if you didn't have any sexual connection? And Amy's like, well, we've done stuff, but have you literally had the locomotive enter the cave? Like, choo choo.
She was saying no. She said they didn't. AD didn't believe her, but based on the amount of conversations I saw about fucking birth control, I kind of do believe it. Because that man was
They
pressed
must have been
about
doing
it.
they must have been doing some heavy baseball playing then, all the way to third. What's third base? Isn't that like, oh, and
I think so. I mean, that's more fun
so
anyway.
yeah, but so they're probably just third base in it. And now hopefully they made the home run.
I'm sure now that they're married and have been married for well over a year. Because you know that show filmed 1 or
Has
2
it
years
been
ago.
that?
Yeah, it filmed forever ago. Usually between the time they film these and between the time the reunion comes up, it's been over a year. And the reunion, I think, is coming next week or the week after. So it's been a long time. They've definitely fucked. They're a married couple.
you know what I want to do? I want to watch that reunion on live and talk about it.
Like watch it
How
while
can
we're
we do that?
live?
Yeah.
I mean, that might be difficult
But we should have
because it'd be hard.
commercials.
I know, that's what I was going to say. There's no commercial breaks. Granted, Netflix isn't live, so you can just pause it whenever, but it would be hard for us to like coordinate that. But I like where your head's at.
I know, I like the idea, but we
We could just go live right after it airs
that's true.
and discuss.
I have to take notes.
Or we can host it, stream it, and talk about it like in the comments. But anyway, we can talk about
host
that.
it and then stream it after and then talk about it after if people want to. That'd be cool.
Yeah, because
I
the
think that's a good
preview
idea.
I've been told is very messy. I didn't watch it, but I heard it's a very messy preview. So it seems like it's going to be a clusterfuck. Yeah, I love a clusterfuck.
Well, while we're on that, the only other couple that made it to the altar was AD and Clay.
Which we predicted last week they were not going to get married. And we were.
Well, did I say she was going to
Correct.
say yes and he was going to say no?
I think
We
that's what
both
I
did,
said.
didn't
I'm
we?
pretty sure I said that.
Yeah.
And I think you might have agreed. Like, I think we both said that. We both definitely said we didn't think they would end up married. But yeah, it panned out exactly how I thought it would pan out. She would say no. She would say yes. He would say no.
Mm-hmm. And to go through all that and him talking to his dad, and they get up there at the altar and they're saying these sweet little things about each other, right? Before the vows even start. And then she says, I do. And he says, I can't marry you right now. And she's like, are you fucking serious right now? Why would you? She was blindsided. She had no clue.
Yeah, because, and here's the thing about Clay. I think he's the fakest person on that show. Like every single scene to me, it felt like he was acting and he was just saying what she wanted to hear. And he was always telling her positive affirmation things, like, and how excited he was to marry her. There was no warning.
Well, did you think there wasn't a couple red flags though in the pods when he wanted to know what she looked like, and then he got over that, and then
Yeah.
and then when they're talking, he's like, if you ever get fat, I'm gonna tell you because I don't want a fat wife. It's just how he said, and she's like, well, I hope you're gonna tell me nicer than that I would need to like. And he's like, I'll work on that. Like he still cares 100% about what his woman looks like, as opposed to, because she was ready to ride or die with him.
Mm-hmm.
She was ready to.
He's a major red flag. And frankly, like he didn't really even give that many reasons why he said no, other than he just wasn't ready and didn't know if he wanted to be married in general. I'm like, what are you doing on this fucking show? The whole point of this show is you're supposed to come in wanting to be married. Like that's supposed to be a goal of yours if you're entering this show. And obviously he just did it for clout and followers on Instagram and whatever, because otherwise he wouldn't have been on the show. Like, period. And then the only other real reason he said was, yeah, and I don't really know what her finances are. Okay, why didn't you fucking talk about that? Yeah, you don't remember him saying that?
No, I remember him saying, I just can't give you 100% in this marriage or whatever. And he's like, I just don't want to let you down. Like, I feel like that was just a lame excuse that he said to not. He said he still wanted to date her after this. I hope she didn't.
Me too.
She's like, if he doesn't want me now, then I'm done. What more is there to do? Like, what more is there to say? Like, listen, my parents, my mom and dad, they married after a month.
Wow.
They've been together my 35 years.
That's crazy.
My mom met my dad. He was in the Air Force. They dated for a month. They got married. They've been together 35 years.
Good for them. Kudos. It happens. I mean, listen, these love stories happen. We have, me and my husband have some friends who, same situation. I mean, they haven't been married 35 years yet because they're, close to our age, but they met and dated a month and were married within like 3 months. They got engaged really fast, like after a month of dating. And all of their friends were like, this is too fast. Oh my gosh, don't do it. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them were, but they're still together. It's been, I don't know, 15, 20 years. They have a kid. They're happy, I don't know how many years. I'm terrible at math, but it's been a long time. They're doing great. So
well, marriage has its ups and downs and stuff, but sometimes you meet a person you just know. I mean, if you're sitting around dating for years and you haven't popped the question yet, then something's something's wrong. I know they weren't dating for years, but I'm just saying, you know.
I mean, not necessarily, because me and my husband were together 7 years before we were married. I think we were engaged after like
Jesus
5 or
Christ.
6. But we talked about it the whole time. Like, we were always in communication about what that looked like. We always planned to eventually get married. And we were always exactly on the same page about it. It was never me sitting around being like, when is it going to happen? Like, as a matter of fact, there was a time when I was like, I think I need a little more time. And there was a time when he needed time. And we were just always in communication. And when we were ready, we were ready. And my engagement wasn't a surprise. I mean, the day of it, I guess, kind of was. But like, I knew he had a ring, you know? So I think it can be okay in either scenario as long as the couple is communicating about exactly what and when they want.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with you.
Yeah. And we've been together like, I don't know, 12 years, going strong. So
There you go.
we bought a house together before we got engaged because we're crazy.
Doing it backwards.
I mean, we knew we were going to end up married. We just weren't ready yet.
You know who wasn't ready at all? Jimmy.
Well, Jimmy. Yeah, let's talk about that. So he let Chelsea know like 2 or 3 days before the wedding was going to happen. They went to dinner and he said, "I don't want to marry you." And they had a really uncomfortable conversation. What do you think about that?
Well, they also had quite a big fight. We didn't get to talk about that because that was on the most recent episode.
You fucked her. You told me you fucked her. That one?
Yep, it was. I wonder which one it was because Jimmy has 2 girlfriends that he had Chelsea meet at dinner one day. Yeah. And I guess he told her later that he slept with one of them. I don't know which one it was. I'm curious to find out. But he told her. And he
off camera. He told her off camera.
Yes, off camera. He also asked her, we found out later that he specifically told it to her in confidence off camera, and she brings it up while the cameras are there. Like the whole, like, she's upset because he's texting her all the time, texting the girl all day. That's what she's saying. Mm-hmm. And she's just, I don't think the way to get to talk to your man is like, I know you fucked her. I am not, like, it's just the way
screaming and crying is never gonna do it.
But I felt like all she has been doing is screaming and crying the whole time.
Yeah. Okay, listen. Last time we spoke on this, you were like, God, Chelsea's a whiny bitch. Oh my God. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to have a sister's back here. And I'm going to say that I think that Jimmy is causing some of this behavior by ramping up her insecurity. I was trying to throw her a bone, and I was sticking up for her. But after that episode, I was like, I can't stick up for you anymore, Chelsea. I understand that the things I said before I think are still true, but I'm like, you are way too, what's the word? Like, just over emotional with him and like accusatory. And then as soon as he brings up a question or whatever, his own feelings, you're suddenly like, well, you don't love me anymore. And like, it's just, it's not okay. It's not a healthy way of communicating with somebody. And sitting there screaming while he's in the bathroom, brushing his teeth, like, yeah, you fucked her. When he said, this is my deepest, darkest secret, please don't say this on camera, is fucked up. Because that's what we learned when they went to dinner. He said, you said on camera what I consider my deepest, darkest secret that I asked you not to. So I can't trust you now. And for that, I cannot blame him. Like, that's not okay. I would have been fucking pissed too, because at the end of the day, he was trying to protect his friend, because that is embarrassing to be like outed on TV like that, regardless of the scenario. Like, just certain people don't want their sex life aired on Netflix.
She probably wasn't even thinking when she said that, because you know how women can be like in the heat of the moment, but it is true. It's one of those 2 girls, and now it's going to come to light. And maybe that's something that, he was trying to protect his friend. So Chelsea was bitching, saying, I don't want you to go out all the time. You said you didn't like to. He's like, I can go to have a couple of drinks with my friends and come back. I'm not gone all night.
He went for like an hour.
I don't want you to do that. I want you, like, oh my God. And then she was whining because of what he had told her about sleeping with his friend. And she's like, she's like, I don't want you to talk to her anymore. Da 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 da. And he's like, is that what you want me to do? Is that what you're wanting me? She's like, yes, babe, that's what I want you to do. And he's like, well, I'm not willing to take a step back. And then I thought that was like I was like, mic drop, like.
Yeah. I will say this, though. I do hope that he told her that information before they went for that meeting where they had the drinks together, because I think it would have been a little fucked up to bring her into that situation and then be like, hey, here's my best friends. And then she likes them. And then they get home and he goes, by the way, I had sex with one of them. Like, I hope he said that first, but I don't really know. Like, they didn't tell us when that conversation happened.
Her demeanor at the dinner when she was meeting his girlfriends didn't seem like to me that she knew yet, because I feel he might have told her after. I don't think he told her before, because she wouldn't have.
You could be right.
She would have been like,
yeah, I think she would have been totally different at that dinner or drinks or whatever.
She would have had a bitch fit. She would have walked away, stood at the bar, and been like giving the girl the death stare. Like, there's no way he would have said it before.
Or I think afterwards they would have had immediate fights about it, because that's just how they are. It seemed like, if I had to guess, it seemed to me like they went to those drinks, they got home that night, they spoke off camera about it that night, and then the next day that argument we saw probably happened, or within the next couple of days that argument happened. I think that's probably the timeline, but hard to say.
Do you think that because he told her that he had once had a sex with one of the girls, that it made her issue within herself? Because before she knew that, she knew he had girlfriends and was comfortable talking with them at the place that they were at.
Yeah.
And she might have been comfortable about him texting his girlfriends, but as soon as he said, don't you think that fucked up everything, him telling her that?
But I think it fucked it up because he should have told her first, not after. I think that's probably where the issue came forth. If he had told her before he met with them, I feel like she might not have even gone to that meeting and things would have been different, and maybe she felt duped. I could kind of see that, and that's what makes me feel like it happened after, and that probably gave her the ick. I would have felt the same kind of way. Like, if you took me to meet these girls and I connected with them and I was like, oh, maybe we'll be friends, maybe we'll all be friends, and then I found out there was a sexual history after the fact, I would have felt a little duped and embarrassed, because I mean, that this is going to be aired on an international platform. So what do you think?
Well, with that and her being clingy and always questioning his care for her, I can't really tell at this point whether he cared for her or not. I think he tried, but I think she dug her own grave at the end. I really do, because she would always self-doubt herself, and her lack of confidence is what dug herself in deeper. And at the end of the day, and he's like, I'm not going to walk down the aisle with you. And he's like, because she's like, we had one argument. They had multiple little ones that added up. And
they only argued. I never saw them get along.
And she whiny. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. She's whiny. Yeah. No, I don't.
I'll say this. Like, I think previously to this episode, I was giving Jimmy a pretty hard time because I just don't like that man. I don't like his vibe. And I think it's because I felt from the get-go like he wasn't attracted to her and didn't love her like he was saying. I sensed that he was faking it, so I therefore didn't like him. But I will say I have mad respect for the fact that he, at that dinner the couple of days before the wedding was going to happen, told her I can't do this. She was pissed, but I thought that was very respectful, because I think it's much worse to let her go to that altar and embarrass her in front of her friends and family than to say, like, no, let's not do this. Because a lot of people do go forward to the wedding knowing they're going to say no because they are clout chasing and want that extra episode. They want
extra hour.
Yeah, the extra hour of screen time. And he didn't do that, so I will tip my hat to him on that one.
I'm so eager to watch this reunion now.
Me too.
I am. Because this is going to be real time because they just filmed this not too long ago, right?
Yes,
The
because
regular
I think it was
special?
filmed last month or something.
Good. We're going to find out the dirty deets and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, like
But I'll
have
tell you
Jeremy
what,
and
this
Sarah
was,
Ann been dating? I want to know. What were you going to tell me? What?
well, also, I think that this season of Love is Blind might have been the most boring one I've ever watched, though.
You didn't watch last season, and that's why you think that. Because last season was the
Is it
worst.
was last season with Bartiste?
No, you didn't see the last one. Remember,
Okay.
because I told you about the couple that Zach and what's her face, that they ended up, he rejected her from the pods and got with somebody else, and then realized he made a mistake. Because you had asked me if they would allow them to do that. So that
Okay, yeah, then I
season,
missed that one.
but there's a really good reason that season was boring, and it's really unfortunate. It's because there was a whole other couple that was engaged that they followed all the way through to the wedding that they cut out completely. They just cut them out of the show after filming because there were like abuse allegations that came forth. And so it got messy and Netflix cut their entire storyline because the guy, I think it was the guy, she said no. And he said, if you air this, I'm going to kill myself. So they took their entire story out. I don't even think they showed them in the pods. Like they just got completely wiped out. So that meant that like a third of the show that was supposed to happen got cut. And then they had to scramble to fill all that airtime instead of that couple that was supposed to be, because they had cut it in, you know?
Oh, shit. Okay.
Or they had planned to cut
do
it
it.
in. So that
That'll
season,
do it.
in my opinion, is the most boring because of that. And it sucks because it's not really their fault, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Not to switch the subject and drown on about this, but have you ever watched the Married at First Sight?
No, people keep telling me I need to. I'll have to explain to you off camera why I haven't watched it because I don't want to say here,
Okay.
but I've never seen it. And I
Okay.
hear it's very good, especially the Australian version.
I saw previews of that and I actually wanna watch it.
Yeah.
So
You just watch the American one?
yeah, I haven't watched the Australian one yet, but the American one's good.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I feel like it's got to be high drama. Like getting married at first sight is a stupid idea. That's even worse than Love is Blind. At least they give them a chance to get to know each other and pick the person. Because my understanding of Married at First Sight is they don't pick the person at all, right? They just show up.
They have a panel of experts, like three, that go through they ask what they're wanting and what their personality traits are and what they look for in a partner and things like that. And they try to match up as best as they can the opposite. So
The opposite. They give them the
Sometime-
opposite of what they want.
I mean, not the opposite. Wow, I went totally off.
I was like,
No.
oh no.
No, they do their best to try to find a match that they would believe, and they go and work with them. It's sometimes they can get a little not boring per se, but they talk a lot with the specialists, like the couples that get married at first sight. They talk a lot with the couple specialists to help bring them together. So you have to watch it and see. But if you can tell me why you don't want to watch it another time.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I just have my own personal reasons. But anyway, my favorite dating show is Love is Blind. Sorry, not Love is Blind. Let me start that over. My favorite dating show is Love Island. I am obsessed with Love Island, and I'll watch like pretty much all the franchises. I watch the original UK, which has like 11 seasons, 10 seasons. I've watched the US seasons. I've watched the All-Stars seasons. The Australian seasons are actually some of the best ones. I tried South Africa, but it was boring. So
I haven't watched Love Island yet. I'm not really a reality
So good.
show person, but I'll watch some things. So
that's probably my favorite reality show, period. I just love it. It's like, especially the earlier seasons in Love Island, it's like there was no other show like it. And it's just like so trashy, but in the best way possible.
yeah.
I don't know how to explain. It's just a mess. It's a mess. It's like all these hot people in thongs put in a freaking cabana together, stealing each other's mates and screaming about it.
I wish I could look hot in a thong.
Girl, me too. I've never looked hot in a thong.
Look like a busted can of biscuits is what'll happen when they'll get lost in the
You know what dating shows I can't watch?
What?
Because I love a good messy dating show, but I can't watch like the Bachelor and Bachelorette ones
I
because
knew you were going to say that.
the idea for me, it's I can't handle the ones where like 30 people are going after one person and you're trying to convince me all 30 of you truly want this person and you don't just want to be on TV. I'm like, this is not, I can't suspend my belief for it that all of you are so into this person that you're willing to fucking fight each other on national television. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. I like the other shows where there's just like a lot of contestants fighting for each other because I could believe that you put 20 people in a room and, you know, 8 of them
They're
are
good, bad to
attracted.
find. Yeah.
But I can't believe that you're all just
I never
like,
got
yes.
into The Bachelor. No, I've never gotten into The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. I haven't seen the hype over it, but that's what makes the world unique because we all like different things.
Exactly.
I don't like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with those shows. I just can't watch them. I have watched Bachelor in Paradise a few times, though, because it's multiple people with choosing each other. I like that.
I did try to watch the older Bachelor, though, and I only got through. I can't watch it anymore.
It's just
I
stupid.
couldn't do it.
The only time
There's
I
a lot
could
of
watch
shit
a
out
bunch
there,
of people compete for one person was like those older shows like Rock of Love and
Those were the
Flavor of Love.
days.
But that was just fucking funny. Like, come on.
I miss the blind dates where one's behind a curtain and the other 3 are answering questions and you gotta like
Oh, yeah. Like
answer.
that MTV show. What was that called?
There's a new thing. I don't remember, but now I'm watching this thing. I don't know if it's an actual show or if it's just clips on TikTok. I'm probably sure it's a show somewhere. It's called Updating.
Never heard of it.
Updating.
What's it about?
The last one that I saw was actually one of Sylvester Stallone's daughters on the stage, blindfolded, talking to other guys that are blindfolded, and then they'll take off the blindfolds and like look at each other, and then they'll say, "Close your eyes and put a thumb up or a thumb down if you're interested," and they'll, you know, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of like a new version of like the blind date kind of thing, which is kind of cool.
Well, it's semi-blind because you get to take your blindfold off and look. But then they don't get to know what you said. Sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
It is on TikTok?
It's it's called Updating, but I think they might have like a series somewhere. I just scrolled and found it on TikTok. Like their official like account showing clips from the show. But it's called Updating.
Well, all right then. I'll have to look into that. That sounds interesting. I like anything that goes like way too far and is ridiculous. Like Love is Blind is ridiculous. It's a stupid concept. That's why I like it. I'm like, sell me a big dream and also make it messy. I'm like that meme of what's her name? Oh God, the art of cleaning up lady. I can't think of her name right now. The Japanese lady. She's like, I love mess.
No, I don't know.
I read her book and I still can't think of her name right now. How bad is that?
It's okay. Brain fart.
My brain is just always farting.
Listen, I want you to talk about Kate Middleton just a little bit because you have said how much interest you have in the family and everything going on. You've been watching it. I'll tell you what I've seen, and then I want you to talk to me because I haven't been digging into it. I know that they took a photo of her after not being seen for so long, and it's blurry, but the tires are all wonky, and also I saw something else. Kate Middleton has a mole.
Where is it in the photo?
There's no mole photo in this photo.
Yeah,
but in other clearer pictures, she's got the freaking mole.
Yeah, just to back it up for anybody who's like, what the fuck are they talking about? Where's Kate Middleton? Because some people might not know. They might not have seen the stories. But essentially, Kate Middleton has been out of the public eye since before Christmas time, which is extremely rare for a royal to not be photographed for like 3 or 4 months. You know, that's not normal at all. And especially because they have a bunch of royal duties and events that they go to. And so they're followed around by the paparazzi. Like Princess Diana lost her life being harassed by the paparazzi. And that hasn't really changed. It's just that she's not out, so they're not photographing her, right? The Kensington Palace, where they live, announced that she would be out of the public eye. So it was known that she would be not around, but they said she had an abdominal surgery. And now it's been since Christmas time, and nobody's seen or heard from her. They haven't even seen the kids out and about anywhere. It's 3 months for a recovery of a surgery. Seems like a really long time, but maybe not. I'm not an expert. It just seemed really weird, especially that they weren't showing any photos at home, even just of the kids, like writing "Get well soon, mommy" cards or whatever. And then things got even weirder because Prince William, her husband, he was supposed to go to speak at his godfather's funeral. Like, he was a featured speaker about a week or two ago, and he literally canceled like an hour before. And so he wasn't showing up to things either. So things were really, really weird, and the world was noticing. It was very viral on Twitter and TikTok and all the places. There was a Spanish media who came out and said, Kate Middleton has been in a medically induced coma since January, but they're not telling you that. And they said they had proof, but they never provided it. But that was a rumor that's been going around. And I don't know. It's been really weird. So under all this pressure, because it went viral and everybody was asking the question, it seems as though there was a staged photograph taken, which we're going to show here, the one that ALYN was talking about with the extra tires underneath the car that don't make any sense. It's extremely blurry. It was obviously staged. It's by Backgrid. And if you know anything about Backgrid, because if you follow us because of Britney stuff, you already know. But for anyone who doesn't know, Backgrid is a paparazzi company. A lot of times they seem to be working with staged photographs. They get called places by the teams. It seems like a lot of people's teams work with them for publicity, which isn't a scandal in itself. But the picture's weird. You can't really see her. And what you do see, she doesn't look exactly like herself. And then I also pulled up a photo of her in a car from like 2 years before that was crystal fucking clear. So we know it's possible to get a crystal clear shot of her in the car. It's just all really weird.
That photo, when I saw that, it reminded me so much of the Britney Spears pictures that we're seeing. Her in her car, her out and about, when literally 10, 20 years ago we had clear as day pictures with different cameras, and you're telling me that you got one picture of Kate Middleton blurry as F, and you're wanting us to believe that?
I know. And you know, there's a possibility that because they have agreed to have the photo taken, maybe that they told them, like, you need to be really far away, like a certain amount of distance. And perhaps that could explain why it's so blurry, because they're having to use like a lens that can zoom in quite a lot, and you're getting something in motion, which is very hard to do as a photographer and get it to be crystal clear. So maybe there's some explanation there. But even so, if that was a directive from their people being like, you need to be way far away, don't get a clear shot, like, that's still fucking sus.
Well, the sus is the tires in the fucking first place.
Yeah, why are there 2 or 3 extra tires in this picture from a ghost vehicle that doesn't exist?
See, that's where I can believe that it has been messed with.
Oh, it's definitely been messed with.
Because you literally didn't fix the freaking the car tires.
Yeah, it seems to me, I mean, my best guess on why that would be, a lot of people are like, AI generated. I'm like, probably not, because it'd be a lot easier to just get a stand-in to come be in this photo and just take a real photo than it would be to AI generate a real photo, or like a real looking photo. But I mean, it's possible. But I feel like there was another vehicle behind them, and for some reason they photoshopped part of it out, but not the other part. And it's like, but why did you fuck up like that? Like, this was a money shot, you know? People have been asking the question, where's Kate Middleton, since December. This is the only known photo of her in 3 fucking months, and you fuck up your Photoshop job? Why? Was it a rushed gig? I don't get it.
So has there been any other sightings of her since that one picture that came out?
Absolutely not. No. But Kensington Palace, it seems like there's something going on with communication between, like, Kensington Palace, which, like, is in charge of her PR stuff, and then, like, the royal family in general. Like, it seems like there's something not copacetic going on. And I'm not a royal expert at fucking all, so I don't know all the right words, so please forgive me. But they announced that she would be at this event, I believe in June, and it was like the color of the something. I don't know. It was a military event, and that would be her first appearance. But then, like, another team came in and said, no, she won't. You need to remove her from this. It's like the teams aren't communicating at all, and they removed her from the website event as well. So now nobody knows when she will be seen again, because that was the next planned appearance.
Do you think that something bad happened during surgery and she is in a coma? Like, do you think that something went wrong? And to ease the public's concerns, especially about her, they staged that photo to calm the masses?
Well, I definitely think that no matter what, that photo was staged to try and calm the masses, but they did such a sloppy job that it just raised more questions than it did anything. And I saw so many people questioning whether it was AI, whether it had been photoshopped, whether that was a body double. And it was like deja vu, because we've seen all these questions with Britney. And the people that are asking these questions are not the same people that were asking the questions about Britney. This is a new slew of people. So I'm like, this is the reality we live in now, where we cannot trust anything we see. Anything. And it's scary, because how are we to decide what is real and what is not real? I do think that was a staged photo. I don't know if it was actually her or not. In my gut, I don't feel like it was her, but I don't know. It could be that she looks different.
Well, she's gorgeous, but there's so many people that there's so many people that can look like us. You know what I mean? Like, how easy would it be? I'm pretty sure they have a Kate Middleton double on call, definitely. Yeah. Probably all of the royal family.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Putin has like a lot of them. That's one of the things I hear all the time. Of that. Yeah, and what a bunch of people like that, a bunch of political figures like that have been known to have multiple body doubles for their own safety. The royals are political figures, so it makes total sense to me that they would have 1 to 5 of them, Of course. So I don't know. I mean, her face didn't look right. The mole wasn't there. The thing is, though, when you zoom in to see her face, it's so grainy that it's possible the grain would be obscuring the mole. I'm not sure.
If I could see more pictures of what they took, but it doesn't seem like we're going to.
They released one photo.
Across the whole board, one singular photo.
Yeah, and the rumor has it that they told the British media not to publish it, so they didn't. So it just kind of came to American media, because now we're asking questions.
Like with the Britney thing, like look at that. Look, we can compare the two. Mm-hmm. It's easy to pop on a pair of sunglasses and say this is the person, especially when you're not seeing this person every day. Like if I see you every day, ALYN, and then I see somebody trying, I'm like, that's not ALYN. But we don't see the real Britney or the Kate every day, so we're not gonna know.
No, and we haven't seen her in 3 months, so who knows what she looks like right now? Like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people were commenting that her face, her frame seemed bigger, but if she did have surgery, very likely she did have surgery, I think, but they could have put her on something like prednisone, which is known to change your facial look. They call it moon face, because it gives it just makes your face a little thicker. So something like that could be happening, or she could have some water retention going on. We don't know. But I did ask my friend who lives in the UK. I said, what do you think about all this? Because she knows about the royals and she follows the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And she said she thinks it's not as much of a conspiracy as people are thinking. She thinks that Kate may have had an ectopic pregnancy, which is a dangerous situation and would require an emergency surgery. It does not seem like the abdominal surgery was planned. They said it was, but it really came out of the blue, and they had to cancel a lot of events that Kate was supposed to be at. So I'm not buying that it wasn't a sudden thing. I think it was planned in that she didn't get rushed to the ER, but it was something that they caught and were like, we got to do this right now. Yeah. And that would be in line with something like an ectopic pregnancy. And she thinks
not to
perhaps
be
there was a
seen for 3
complication,
months.
though. And that
Yeah.
it's possible, what she thinks is going on is it's possible that, and I can never say this word, Kate has a colostomy bag. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Colostomy? I might be saying
Colostomy bag.
colostomy. I never say this right, but the poop bag.
Yeah.
You know, because if she had a complication, she might have to now have one of those. And she thinks that they're hiding her from public view because it's uncouth. And it's like, it would be, you know, they're royals. They don't want to talk about poop bags
Yeah,
and stuff.
but they wouldn't have to tell you. You wouldn't really know and see unless she was in a bikini, which you would never be able to know.
I don't know. I mean, are they easy to hide?
Yeah, because my grandmother who passed away, she had one. You don't really know that it's there.
Mm.
They're pretty flat and they don't, you can just wear them underneath your pants, really. You can, it just depends on also where it's placed and things like that. But I never noticed it unless she literally would point it out and be like, look at
Yeah.
that. Like was my kooky grandma. But
I would imagine your grandma wore like normal people clothes though. And Kate Middleton is very skinny and wears very tailored clothes all the time. So it might be harder to hide.
yeah, that's true. Unless she's wearing like a jacket or something out and like there would be no way you could.
But it makes sense why they'd show her just from here up then if they were hiding something like
Yeah.
that and if it really were her.
You know, that's a common thing. No, I hate that they would think that was uncouth because stuff like that happens all the time where people have to wear those. I mean, I follow a couple of people on TikTok who try to make it a norm to show that, you know, it's just something that, you know, you have to do. It's something to save your life, you know. So make it not uncouth. Make it couth.
Yeah, but these are the royals. They don't live by the same rules as us. And for them, like their whole public perception is everything. So, and I don't agree with these choices. If that were the case of what was happening I don't agree that this is necessary, but I understand that that's how they handle things. I've seen a lot of different theories though. Like I said, there's the coma theory, the ectopic pregnancy theory. I've seen my favorite theory is the funny one that she got a BBL because it takes exactly 3 months to heal. A Brazilian butt
That's what I'm
lift.
hearing too.
I don't think that one's a serious theory. I don't think anyone actually believes that, but it is funny. I've seen much less funny theories that one, she is anorexic and they had to put her into treatment, which does take time. I saw a theory that Prince William has been abusing her and roughed her up too bad, so they needed to hide her for her face to heal. Like, the theories are outrageous. They're all over the map. I don't know what the truth is. But
You might never know.
we probably won't. And one day she'll probably just be back up and operating again, and we'll be like, okay.
Yeah. And the next conspiracy we'll be talking about, because there's going to always be something happening somewhere with someone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Kate Middleton. The only thing I do know for sure is that the royal palace is not being honest about it. And they're hiding things and trying to make it look a certain way. There's also theories that Kate and William are divorcing. That's another theory that a lot of people, and that they're trying to hide it. And that's part of why there's these communication errors between Kensington Palace and the other parties, because they're not actually together. And so, I don't know. I just wish that our governments, I mean, this isn't our government, but I just wish that governments in general would be fucking honest for a change and just tell people the truth.
That's never going to happen either.
And if the truth is Kate had some very personal things go on and we can't tell you about it, just fucking say that. She'll tell you when she's ready. Just say that.
Yeah.
Don't lie and say she's
you couldn't
totally
pay me enough to be in that light like that, though. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't. To always have to be perfect all the time.
No. And I started watching the Meghan and Harry Netflix show. Did you ever watch that?
No.
I just started
I
because
don't know,
I got interested
about them
in this.
together just irks me. I don't know why.
It irks a lot of people. A lot of people really hate Meghan. I don't know what my opinion is yet because I'm still kind of watching that show. And in the show, she's very, very empathetic, and you feel like she's a good person. But then I hear all these other stories that tell me otherwise. So who fucking knows? But a lot of that show talks about the paparazzi over there and like how it killed Diana and how it was like ruining Harry's life and Meghan's life. And that part of it, I definitely believe. Like, it's out of control over there. They have a real problem with paparazzi in the UK. I mean, we do here as well, but theirs actually kills people sometimes. So it's bad. It's scary. I would never want to live in that life.
No, I get nervous when I go in public now. I think somebody's looking at me and I freak out. One person, I freak out. I know I'm no one, but like you think that maybe somebody saw you from that one video or like from that one that went viral, and then you're like, are they looking at me because they think I'm that girl who, talked about that or talked about, and then I can't handle it. So I can't imagine being like top tier and have people follow your every move and watch and look at you all the time.
No, I don't even like people looking at my social media, which I put out there. Sometimes I'm like,
I feel the same way. You can't say anything. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to continue to follow the Kate thing. I'm not satisfied by this bullshit picture that they obviously set up. So in my mind, I still want to know where the fuck she is. I'm not as invested in her as I am, say, Britney Spears. Because up until the "Where is Kate Middleton" thing, I couldn't have cared less, honestly. But
it gives us something else to talk about too, because it's happening all over. It just goes to the links that people in power will hide things. So
that's true.
Whether that's for a good or bad agenda, we don't know yet. They could be doing it to protect Kate. And what we're seeing with Britney, they could be doing that to protect Britney, but everybody's got...
Don't say that. They'll come for you.
Got their own... There might be a reason why Britney has never spoken on camera yet as far as an interview. There's a reason why she didn't do a book promotion. She's possibly going through some things. And it's okay. It's okay, but what gets twisted is when you do try to talk about it, unless we say, unless I say it is her team doing it, or it is all to make her look bad and they want to put her back in a sea ship and control her. If I say that, then it's fine. But if I say she might just be struggling things and she's free and she's doing these things that maybe she shouldn't be doing, like as far as like dancing nude, like the other day there was one that her boobs were out, like literally everything. It was deleted.
Yeah, I saw.
There is nothing wrong with showing boobs and stuff. It's just that she possibly may be going through some things that she should keep to herself so the world doesn't see, because that's what causes people to be concerned. I don't know how else to say it. I've said it a zillion times. You can be concerned for someone. What if you or me constantly did what she was doing on social media? You would think something's not right. And even a certain reporter, I guess I can say his name, Trey Serna, he says the things about Free Britney so eloquently in a way that, without trashing, without talking about conspiracy, without talking about it, he brings it. I encourage you to go watch Trey Serna, because he's will
very well spoken.
Bring all so much. I can't speak like he does, but he addresses everything that we're feeling in a clear and concise, kind statement about her. Because whether I keep trying to say things and it gets misconstrued, but obviously we know she's suffered, she's struggling. It's not gonna be like, bam, Britney's free out of the conservatorship and everything's gonna be fine. And it's been a couple years and things, what I'm seeing now, in my opinion, don't look too good. And yes, I am basing it on what I am seeing on her Instagram and what I am not reading in the media. I'm going by all of that. You can just, ALYN, it's so touchy. ALYN,
I know.
I worry for the girl every day.
I know. Me too. I do. Even though I am silent on the issue on social media at this point, and I have my own personal reasons for that I'm not ready to talk about. I still care, and we still watch, we still talk about it in private, out of the public eye. For me though, it's not something I feel like being a part of the public discourse on right now. And maybe that'll change one day. I still care deeply. It's just, I don't feel like I can exact any change. I don't feel like there's anything I could say or do with the way I feel that would be helpful to anybody. So I just step back and I let other people say and feel their thing.
I mean, there was a moment in time when we were all excited because we thought at one point there was something being said in the captions of her Instagram posts.
Yeah.
There were clues. And we thought maybe that, or I thought, I don't want to keep saying we,
Right.
I thought that maybe that she was trying to tell us something we needed to figure out, something that was still happening. And when a year's gone by and the same thing's happening, only it's a little bit more, I can't figure out anything. I don't know. It's better to focus on the justice part than the mentality part of Britney, because I'll say this, I've said it on a public platform before. I wake up every day and I'm scared that I'm going to read the news that something's going to happen to her, like that she will ultimately be her own demise because of everything that's happened to her. And I don't want another tragic story to unfold in the news. This is not what I want to see go down. I want to see her thrive and I want to see her be happy. And right now, in my opinion, I'm not seeing her thrive and be happy. I mean, I'm not seeing it.
Me either. I mean, there's an attempt by whatever's going on her Instagram, by either her or whoever, to convince us that there is happiness there, but then it's not convincing. So I don't know. I'm just waiting for the day that we hear her speak again, and I'm waiting for the day that her father has to pay for what he did in court, and Lou Taylor has to pay for what she did, and Robin Greenhill, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I'm looking forward to, and I probably will eventually talk again about it when it comes to the trial that's coming up May, I believe. At one point I was thinking about going out there for the trial, but I don't think I will anymore. I don't feel safe, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't feel safe, but I will be watching from afar. So
yeah, I think we need to focus more on that and instead of what we're seeing being portrayed, because what it does is you try not to let it get to you. It gets to you.
Got to me.
Sorry, we know. I mean, yeah. And then the more we don't know and the more things get confusing, the more that Britney fans and Britney people that love and adore her turn on each other. And you just see this this bowl of hostility. And I can't take that anymore, because it's like, if you can't find out anything about Britney and you know just as much as I do, which is not very much, then you get angry and you turn this anger and stuff onto each other. And it's really hard because we're all here for the right reasons and the good reasons, but because we all have different opinions and we're not finding out anything more than we knew last year, the hate and the drama is seeking through, and it makes me honestly never want to say a dang word about her again, especially on my platforms with TikTok and Instagram.
Yep, that definitely
It's got
has
to that
a
point.
lot
I've
to do
slowed
with
pretty
why
down.
I'm silent.
Yeah.
I have to, there's a lot of reasons, but at the end of the day, like, I'll say this to anybody who cares about anything. You have to take care of yourself first and take care of your mental health first, and you can't advocate for somebody or help a cause if you can't help yourself first. So I think it's healthy to set boundaries and take time when you need it, and you can still care, but don't hurt yourself.
Take a step back, because it gets overwhelming. There would be a time when I would post something every time she would post something.
Same.
I mean, it was multiple times a day, every day. And now it's only if something major happens or we hear a news article or something, or she was spotted out and about, that I'll decide to. I'm sorry, I keep talking like we're a thing together, like you're hooked to me. But yeah, I'll only talk about if something major is happening or something catches my eye and I feel like talking about it. And I've slowed way down because it is draining and exhausting. And I've needed some me time lately. So,
Yeah. You know, I always say the same thing too. You have to protect your peace.
Yep.
And everything else comes second. Like, there is one way you do have to be a little selfish in this world, and that is by protecting yourself so that you can serve the world as the best version of you. Like, you can't show up if you're not protecting your peace. You can't show up authentically and do your best job anyway. So on that note, we do need to wrap it up because it is time. But
okay.
Probably no funny stinger this time, guys. Sorry, we ended on a serious note, but that's just how it goes.
You
These
know
are
what
natural
I wanted
combos.
to talk about?
Well,
That
we're out of
crack
time.
kills, Alan, and we ran out of time. It does. It's horrible. Crack kills, y'all.
Yeah.
Dare.
We'll talk about
Dare
it
to
next
keep
time.
a
I'm sure
kid
it'll
off
keep going.
drugs. Dare to keep grit off dope. Do. Remember that? You
No.
gotta need some help. You gotta help us. The dare. Dare to keep a kid off drugs. Dare to keep a kid off dope. Help us. We really need your help. You gotta help us.
Okay, bye. Oh,
Bye.
what's the thing we
Tune
say?
in.
Or fuck off.
Fuck off.